So, as you all know by now, and as probably most of you have predicted, Roman Reigns has retained the Uwu Championship over LA Knight, and he, as predicted, he does it with interference from, well, this time Jimmy Uso. So, Emil, you got feelings? Let's lay them out.
Yeah, sobrang bad trip ako with this one. Again, last time I didn't really watch this live. I was on the trip, going back to Naga. And you know what the worst thing about all of this is? No one cares on my no at least on my timeline na, kasi naka for you din ako. So it's like the trends, right? No one really cared about the ending of this match. No one cared that Roman won. Yung nakita ko sa timeline ko was Kyrie and that Logan Paul clip that we talked about the pick of the week.
Good
But no one
God. Please
really
listen to that and pick of the week. If you want to hear me rant, please listen to
yeah,
that.
like no one cared about Roman winning. And it's a far contrast to nung WrestleMania when it was still interesting when that was the height of all of Roman's title reign. You know, now people were mad. People were mad that Roman won, but this one, like no one cared. It's and maybe because at the start of this feud, lang, we all know, okay, Roman is not gonna lose this. Like as much as LA Knight has shined throughout the match, shined throughout the whole thing, at the end of the day, we no one was expecting LA Knight to win the match. And now I'm getting to the match itself, right? I also didn't like how Roman won and kailangan pa niya ng interferences. The LA Knight should have lost cleanly because it's weird na you had guys like Cena acknowledging Roman Reigns in promos na, oh, you're the one of the greatest of all time. You're the greatest champion of all time. And then kailangan pa niya ng rest back para talunin lang sa LA Knight. No offense to LA Knight, but this is his first main event. Like in kayfabe, he should be an inexperienced main eventer. And dapat if Roman is the champion that he says he should have beaten LA Knight very easily, very cleanly. So, yun pa isang problem ko dito. And, yun na nga, no, at least, if he's gonna be a dominant champ, he's at least at some title defenses, he should have won, he should win those matches clean. Hindi lahat kailangan ng bloodline interferences because it will get stale. And yun na nga yung nangyari. The bloodline thing, it's getting stale at this point. It says, parang we're just waiting. We're just waiting until WrestleMania where the eventual Cody win will happen. So, yun lang naman. Like I'm so sick of this title reign at this point. I in hindsight, the more as we go on here, the more I think that maybe Roman should have lost the title at WrestleMania. Kasi they could have done all this bloodline story without the title naman eh. You know, like the whole Jimmy, the whole Jay thing. They could have done it. Like I've been thinking about this even way before WrestleMania. Now, okay, I'm gonna accept it if Roman loses here, and at least may story pa siya heading in towards the next year with the whole bloodline dissolution. Na hindi nila kailangan ng championship. So again, I'm sick of this title reign. I like Roman, but I'm sick of this title reign. I'm sick of how he's being booked in every match that he has na parang champ siya eh. Kasi kailangan niya pa talaga si Jimmy Uso para talunin lang sa LA Knight. LA Knight? I'm a big fan of LA Knight, pero when compared to Roman, dapat easy lang siya kay Roman Reigns eh. So man, I was sick last Sunday. That's why if you noticed, I went on this little Twitter rant. I'm basically tweeting whatever it is I'm saying right now. So um I may pag-asa pa ba na may pag-asa pa ba tong title reign na to? I don't know. I guess we'll just wait until he comes back again. And when's that? Royal Rumble. So 3 months away pa. So again, the longer the title reign goes, the longer I really thought na he should have lost the title at Mania to Cody. To get it over with. Kasi kung yun lang din naman yung goal to have Cody win over Roman, then you should have pulled the trigger right there and there. Instead of papabain pa and we're at this point where a lot of people are already sick and tired of this title reign. Sorry for the
Let's,
long rant.
let's give it
It-
up for Emile, who done another rant. You won't hear that from a lot of people. Okay, so a lot of things to unpack here. So is Lance still here in the chat watching? Kasi this whole thing is pretty much vindicated and justified his whole disdain with the whole bloodline operation. So I was listening to the Mass Man show talking about this. So Dave Shoemaker was talking about how at this point nobody in authority is stopping the whole bloodline scam, 'di ba? Parang Nick Aldis is your new general manager. He showed himself to put his foot down, 'di ba? And then he's still not stopping this whole thing, 'di ba? The thing about the Roman Reigns championship reign is that yes, obviously they made a promise to Cody Rhodes na siya yung mananalo at WrestleMania 40, right? Let's give the big win at the number 40. So anything that happens between then and now, it's gonna be to protect that story. So this is the pitfalls of a long-term story, and that's not to say that long-term storytelling is bad. It's just more of you need to be able to fill yung gitna with something compelling. So the thing with the long reign is that it was good when the stories were good. So when we had Sami Zayn getting kicked out of the bloodline, when we had Jimmy Uso getting kicked out of the bloodline, when we had the Usos getting kicked out of the bloodline, those stories were great, and we were all in. And then now we got to this. One, Jimmy goes back to the bloodline, and they still haven't explained that. And then you got into a feud with LA Knight without much reason, tapos without much substance kasi LA Knight was just really throwing out sick burns about suffering succotash, but they didn't really explore how, they touched on it a little bit when Roman said, wala ka namang credibility here, you haven't won a championship match, you've never been in a world championship match yet, diba? They didn't really give us a good story the way they gave us with Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and the Uso. So that is what I think is missing here. Because if we got yung cinema moments that we were only just talking about like what, a few months ago, half a year ago, if we got those, then we wouldn't be minding how Roman keeps retaining every time. Diba? Yes, you're right in that they do need to switch up the way they finish the story. I mean, they finish the match rather. You're right that there wasn't any need for Jimmy to interfere and help Roman win. Roman still does deserve to be a dominant champion who wins clean because he is the final boss against someone who is what? Only just stepping up to the main event plate just now, diba? Yeah, so that's a problem here. People have been saying, I think WWE has been saying, or someone from the company has been saying that they have done what they set out to do with Roman Reigns, which is to get him hated. But I think that the old heads are also not aware that there is a difference between hating a character because he's a heel and because he does despicable things, and hating what a company does with this wrestler. So, nung una, we were still at the first point. We were still at the first camp. And then now, we're now here at the second camp because we're now hating what WWE is doing with Roman Reigns, and that's not because of the character, because the character is pretty awesome, and it's pretty hateable as well, depending on how you see things. But it's just that you do need to dissociate yourself from the old school. Heat is heat.